Hi, it's Mike Stevenson here. In this video, we're going to talk about a feature we have in Turbo 360, which is aimed at making cost recommendations from Azure Advisor more accessible in Turbo 360. So where we're going to look here is in Turbo 360, over on the left-hand side here, I've got my tree view where I've modeled how I want my cost to be managed in the company. So for me, I'm looking at the Document 360 team, and in particular, I'm looking at the dev test environment here. Now, what the idea of the tree view is I can sort of break down the cost instead of having just one flat list of hundreds of thousands of billing line items. I can break it into chunks so we can manage it by team, by department, by application, by environment, for example. So here I'm just looking at the dev test environment in Doc 360. And within that, the feature I'm looking at is our optimization feature. And then we have right sizing. So in Turbo 360, we basically have a combination of recommendations from Azure Advisor, and we also have our own recommendation algorithm as well. And that there's some subtle differences about how they work. And sometimes we would offer more recommendations, sometimes Advisor might offer more, and they do different kinds of recommendations. But really, what we're trying to achieve is to give you the most amount of guidance of what things you can do that can save money. So in this video, we're going to have a look at the advisor recommendations that we can service. Now, the first question really is going to be, why do I need Turbo 360 to show me the recommendations that Azure has anyway? And I think that's a brilliant question. And the answer to that really is about this accessibility point. So we speak to customers all the time, and the common theme is that people miss recommendations about reservations and recommendations about right sizing and configuration changes because they're very hidden away inside Azure. And from a kind of people perspective, what we tend to find is there's a disconnect between the people who are aware of and have visibility of the recommendations aren't always the people who run the application. So that basically what happens is the people who see them don't know whether they make sense, and the people who would know whether they make sense don't see them. And you kind of end up with this gap where things get missed because of that lack of accessibility. So what we're looking to do in Turbo 360 that's very different is with a tree view. Over here, we want a democratized cost management. So it's a big problem when you have a big Azure estate. We want to get people looking after their own costs. So I can go to the Doc 360 team and say, right, your team look after your own costs. Here's the tool that helps make it easy for you. And in this case here, these are all the Azure Advisor recommendations that relate to the dev test environment for the Document 360 team. So we've immediately solved that problem that the Document 360 team can't see recommendations because they're hidden away from them. They can see which ones would apply to their team, and they can have a look and see if they would make sense. So we'll have a look at a couple of the recommendations that are coming up here. So the first one's about a recommendation to right size or shut down a VM. So we can see some of the details that come up in this recommendation from Azure, some of the the potential cost savings from that. There's a couple of recommendations about disks that may not be attached, so we need to evaluate if we need those. There's a few recommendations about logs here, so I guess we've got a log analytics workspace, and we can potentially change to a basic log that might save some money. Now, what we'd find that there's a bunch of recommendations there. The Turbo 360 recommendations probably offer a lot of other things, particularly about scaling up and down machine sizes and things like app services that we can reconfigure. But the best of both worlds is having a look from both sides to see the things the different tools are offering as an option of ways you can reduce cost, and then we can decide if we want to implement them or keep on top of them. And really in Turbo 360, our use case is to give you these recommendations in the scope that you're looking at on that tree view, so it becomes easy, in my case, for the Document 360 team to manage their recommendations. Our Turbo 360 team would manage their own, and our other product teams would manage their own recommendations. And we hope this would translate to making it a lot easier for a customer in their various teams and departments to manage cost. Thank you for listening to today's video. We hope that's useful for you, and have a great week.